Guys, welcome back. Happy Monday. So here's a quick weekend video, right? Overall, we know this is the structure that's been holding its support. This is the structure that's been holding its resistance. And so far, you can see that we have just been going sideways in this flag and this move up. All right. So again, on Friday, we closed below the flag. On Monday, we're opening, at the flag. So as long as it's pretty simple, right? As long as this flag holds, I still think that you will see, a fifth wave to the upside. We know that there is a gap at 4,000 that needs to be filled, right? It's not visible on the ES, but if you look at XPX and SPY, there is a gap at 4,000 to fill. So here's the thing, right? Before the gap gets filled, right at gap resistance, there is a trend line, as you can see here, right? Let me remove all this shit inside, right? There is a trend line here, right? You can see that there is a trend line here that is acting as downtrend resistance. So the market could either, go test this. You can see this is about 3870, right? Test this resistance, reject, and come back down, or it's gonna, try to fill the gap and come back down. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, right? I'm not really bothered by this gap down. It's barely a gap down, right? If bear showed up, it should have been minus 2%. So this trend line here is a possible support of resistance that could take us lower, right? Or the gap fill, again, another possible spot of resistance that could take us lower before we go to the upside. So these are two possible areas I would look to, start loading puts, right? I still think it's too early to buy puts. I did, right? I did have at most, right? Let's say we break over 3922. I think we could, on a best case, try to retest 4140 if there's any strength in the market. So those are three possible areas that I would look for, a rejection this week before further upside, right? So we have to play the downside for a little bit. But yeah, that's simple version, right? Simple version, all the areas that I am looking for as a rejection. The bottom channel is still holding, so the structure is not broken. However, we can't just plan for one side. Let's say that the structure does break, right? What's next? So let's look at that as well, right? The alternate bear case, which is running on a very thin line, right, is that this entire move is a 1-2. It's holding right against the 0.236 fib. So if you see, let's say my pivot to the downside is 3820, right? If we break below 3820, then I'll start thinking this count actually has some, it's possible. Like till we break 3820, like I'm not really concerned, right? But if we break 3820, this is obviously can be considered a bear flag, right? If this is considered a bear flag, a break below this should give you confirmation that we would retest 3600 and lower. So that's the alternate bear case, right? So we can talk about it when we get there, right? And this is obviously the bull case where, again, I discussed the three possible areas where this fifth wave could end, right? And that would mark the end of this A wave before you come down with the B wave, and then before you start another C wave. So it's kind of what I have on the market update, right? Kind of have to watch the levels. 3820 is the level to flip short, and 3920, if you can, again, on the daily, we know that is the level of resistance, right? 3920, if we can break over that, then 3970 is the first level to watch. Next is 4,000, then 4,100. So those are the bull and bear levels. With that being said, right, let's take a look at this week's watch list, right? The first one I have is Datadog. And as you can see, right, I have both calls and puts because, the market is kind of in an unstable point, right? I'm not telling you we're definitely going to go up like some of the fools, nor am I telling you we're definitely going to go down, right? We need to stay prepared for both sides, right? Which is why I have both calls and puts. Although I predominantly have the bull version marked, right? That doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about the bear version, right? So here, this is what I see for Datadog, right? That's the first stock. Again, let's look at the daily chart, right? For Datadog, you can see that this level at 113 is holding as resistance, right? I'd say about 112, 113, right? This is their area of supply here, right? And you can see right now it's broken over the EMAs, right? And it's holding a support. So again, you can see it's trying to flip green, right? Red is bearish, green is bullish. So if it breaks over the supply with flipping the EMAs, that would obviously lead to a bullish move. So if Datadog can break over this 112 supply, then I think, again, bigger picture, we know that Datadog, this is the downtrend, this is the uptrend, right? Bigger picture, so we know that Datadog can, push to 113 if it breaks this 1112 supply. So this is what I have for Datadog, right? And that's on the bull side, right? We know on the 30-minute chart that Datadog is, consolidating sideways, right? So you can pretty much, put it in a flag. This is the down part of the flag. This is the top trend of the flag. As long as it's staying, within this flag, right? It's okay, right? So if Datadog, I'd say, breaches this low at 104, 103, then obviously it's not a flag anymore, right? And then obviously the market is obviously selling off if Datadog breaks that. In which case, right, you can play the downside all the way to 89, right? So both bull case and bear case, Datadog has a lot of room to run, right? So you can either wait for it to break 1112, right, the supply zone, or you can wait for it to break this low that it made on Friday before it comes down to 89. So those are your bull and bear versions on Datadog. I think it has a lot of room to run on either direction. So let's look at the next one. The next one is Meta. All right, so again, Meta's same as Datadog, is sitting right at supply, right? And again, it's holding pretty much where it held on, what was the day? Hold on. It holding Friday. I'm sorry. It's holding exactly where it sold off on Friday, and it bounced, right? So for Meta, it's very, very simple, right? If this bull level breaks above 172, we know Meta's going to start running pretty hard, right? That's obviously the bull case on Meta. If it breaks over 172, we can see 177, 185, right? On the downside, again, if Meta, okay, let's come up with some downside targets, right? Let me go to the 4-hour chart. And you can see pretty much these wicks here have been bought up, right? So this is your level of demand here. So if Meta starts to break below 164, right, that would place it about here, right? It breaks below demand. If it's not a fake out, right, it should ideally break below 164, 163. If it starts to break below that, then you can see Meta try to retest 150s, right? So again, bull, let it break over 172. You're likely to have a run on Meta right above the supply zone. And bear, if it breaks below, let's say 164, it's going to come down to 150s. So that's what I have for Meta for this week. Let's look at BABA. So I already did this yesterday, but BABA kind of already sold off, right? So this is what I kind of have for BABA, right? You can see, I had calls over 127 supply, right? And obviously that supply has been rejected. You couldn't break above. And so you can see on BABA very clearly that this pennant is kind of broken, right? So I would say if BABA, right, 112 is the line in the bulls to kind of stick save BABA, right? If BABA breaks below 112 here, right, then it's coming back again, the next area of demand at 100. So you can play puts from 112 to 100. And till BABA, I'd say till it breaks below, you can see this is a heavy supply zone. It just cannot get above, right? So till it gets over 127, then over 127 is going to run quickly to 160s, right? But right now, this 127 is acting as heavy resistance. So it's kind of where you have to put your bull alert for, right? Over 127. And right now, you can see that it has broken its pennant. And so if it breaks below 112, it's going to come quickly to 100. So that's the bull and bear case. On BABA, right? The next one is Nvidia. So similarly, right, on Nvidia, you can see again this green support that I've drawn again. You can see all the wicks here, right? So can be understood as demand as well, right? So as long as, again, if we break over this high at 160, bigger picture, we know that this is the downtrend channel Nvidia is in, right? So over 160, I can definitely see it running to about 172, right? That's Nvidia. Bull case, right? Bear case, again, we know this is the level of demand, right? So if Nvidia breaks below 153, then you can definitely see it retesting 140. So those are your bull and bear cases on Nvidia, right? Below 153, you can play puts. Above 160, you can play calls. So yeah, right now it's within this range, right? You can front run it and have a stop here or stop here, depending on what your bias is, or you can wait for it to break a direction. So let's look at Square, right? So Square, again, is very tight, right? So it's very obvious, right? Whichever way this pennant breaks, that's the way Square is going to break out. So the bull case would be it breaks out, right? I have it at 70, right? The bull case would be if Square breaks above this, retests it, then Square could make a very nice move to the upside. And the bear case obviously is if, again, you can see these were the wicks that got bought up, right? So if you break 64, retest it, then it's going to come down to the downside. So Square has a very nice, clean pennant. Same thing that we had for Beyond, right? Beyond just took a few days and then took off. So you can see very similar structure on Square, but on a smaller scale, right? This Beyond consolidated for over a month versus Square just went sideways for a week. So the move is about to be lesser compared to Beyond, but yeah, it has a very nice structure for a bull bearish move. So this is what I have for Square. Now, let's start looking at some of the, Fang stocks, because, that kind of tells you the bigger picture of the market, right? And on Apple, we can see very clearly that Apple has broken its downtrend here, right? And it's had a pretty nice move up. So on Apple, we know the downtrend is broken. Again, the EMAs have flipped red on the daily. We can see that, again, structure-wise, we've had 5 consecutive green days, right? And right now it's, again, holding against the resistance. So if Apple breaks over 146, then we can see, 151, right? Let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft, again, has broken above its downtrend, right, on the daily chart. But on the 4-hour, you can see we're just kind of hovering, right? We're just kind of hovering outside the range, right? So we can kind of draw this mini pennant, right, on Microsoft. So again, whichever way, again, the line in the sand for the bulls would be 262, right? If you break back into this, right, then Microsoft very easily below 260 will run to 253 and probably 246, right? And if Microsoft, again, just takes off Monday open, right, then it's likely to see 277. And same as Apple, right? What happened to Apple? When it broke out, had a series of green days, right? So the same thing can be expected of Microsoft when it's breaking, right? It has a much larger downtrend than Apple does. You can see this is all the way from December, right? Whereas Apple's downtrend was only from Apple's downtrend was from December too, but I feel like it's a lot less progressed than Microsoft was. So anyway, we can expect similar Apple. So even Microsoft is still opening above its resistance. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla, again, this was the downtrend wedge, right? And we have broken above it and just hovering over it. So Tesla, again, is hovering above its resistance level, right? Let's look at Google. Google, again, another stock that's broken its downtrend and it's just hovering above its resistance level. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon, again, broken below this resistance and hovering over it. So all of them, even with Sunday's gap down, are still hovering it. So it's very simple at this point, right? If they cannot stay over this hovered resistance, right, in the case of Microsoft, in the case of Tesla, then you can, be bearish for data and everything and play the downside, right, on all of them. But as long as they consolidate over this, right, and if you go sideways for a day or two, that's honestly bullish for a very, very large move. So yeah, bigger picture, all the stocks they have, most of them have broken resistance and downtrend, not significantly, right? Just hovering over it can be a fake breakout and come back down, but it's not looking too bad for the bulls. I still don't see what's so bearish about the market. Like, I know ES looks a lot more bearish because of oil's weakness, but most of these Fang stocks are looking pretty damn strong, right? So yeah, I just briefly wanted to go over those and give you my thoughts on the market, right? Have a great day.